He stays on surface streets. I prefer, as we've been talking about all afternoon, these things actually, in my estimation, are safer on the freeways. The surface streets are just too poorly illuminated, too many stop signs, too many red lights, far too dangerous for everyone involved. At least on the freeway, there's some breathing room. That's another illegal, well, actually was in the right turn lane there, but continued northbound, fortunately, with traffic, with a green light. But really doesn't matter to this guy. Green lights, red lights, yellow lights. He's just going to keep on going. Yeah. Pepper Avenue northbound on Pepper. This is Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, the hospital we just told you about a moment ago. Pepper Avenue northbound, just north of Interstate 10. Once again in Colton, there's a police officer right there who may or may not be involved. May have just heard about this thing coming up to his area, running yet another red light. I'm telling you, David and Ellen, and all the pursuits we've covered over the years, I've never seen this many close hits. Pepper Avenue northbound, we're coming up on San Bernardino Avenue, and once again, we'll open up the shot for you just a bit to illustrate once again. You look behind this guy, there's nobody chasing him. There are no county sheriffs, there are no local sheriffs, no local police officers, no CHP officers, just that helicopter up
just
above.
A man in his own conscience.
Watching his every move. A very large Chevy Suburban. Those have large V8 engines. David and Ellen, as you mentioned a short while ago, these things can have 40, 45-gallon tanks. With a full tank of gas, even if you're getting only 8, 10, 12 miles a gallon, that's still well over a 400-mile range. That's if it's a well-maintained vehicle, and if he has a full tank of gas. We'll see how far he goes. We may get lucky. Maybe this guy runs out of gas. Maybe he just loses control. Maybe he just stops. We're coming up now. We're leaving Colton. We're into San Bernardino City.
Maybe he runs out of cigarettes and has to stop at a local 7-Eleven.
You know, traffic is usually moderate to heavy, but fortunately, traffic has been lighter than normal, and so far there have been no accidents that we've observed, but more near hits than you can shake a stick at. And once again, Pepper Avenue into San Bernardino. City of San Bernardino. Looks like he just ran right through a rail crossing there, and I can see the Metrolink train.
Imaginable.
It's an eastbound train. He missed that train by maybe a quarter of a mile. Those arms come down to save
He missed it by a quarter of a mile.
Right through it, now into a gas station off of Pepper Avenue.
It's a near miss.
It's going to be Rialto Avenue in the city of San Bernardino. And
he missed that train by a quarter of a mile.
Wanted for reckless driving, and that's not a major deal. He may have been taken into custody if he had been pulled over initially, but maybe only a citation. Who knows? It may also, you don't know this, but he could have other wants or warrants out against him. And the officers can't find that out until they pull him over, check him out, interview him, check his license, and unclear why he continues to run. But reckless driving, that's what we've got so far. Still, no law enforcement officers behind this guy. Just a police helicopter overhead. A railroad crossing coming up here in just a second. He's going to go around it on the tracks. He plowed through a rail crossing just a couple of minutes ago, narrowly missing a Metrolink train. And this time, instead of plowing through that rail crossing, he actually went around it, trying to beat the train once again as we continue eastbound further into San Bernardino. I can see off the nose of the helicopter in about 2 miles, he'll be approaching the 215 freeway. And coming up in just a couple of seconds here, we'll be crossing Rancho Avenue. This is a mixed-use area, half industrial, half residential. It's kind of difficult to tell because it's not very well illuminated, but clearly extremely dangerous, not only for that person being pursued, but for other people in the neighborhood, people just trying to get around town, get to and from work, and going about their business. Fortunately, a green light there, but as you've seen throughout the afternoon, a number of red lights and stop signs.
That's right, Bill. That light could have just as easily have been red.
Went through Rancho, and once again, David and Ellen, we're about 1.5 miles away from the next major freeway interchange, and that'll be the 215 freeway in the city of San Bernardino.
It's also very dark out there, Bill, and so to add to the danger here is the visibility issues, especially when you get to these areas that don't have a lot of street lights. This is a dark SUV, maybe even a black SUV.
He could get distracted by a tumbleweed.
But
a fox.
Than that, visibility could be an issue, especially when this guy is coming so quickly on you. We also have a really interesting point that Dave Coons,
some form of marsupial.
He basically is telling us about the damage that one of these vehicles is capable of in a high-speed collision. He says the Secret Service and other law enforcement agencies that protect dignitaries will use a Suburban as a quote-unquote chase vehicle to ram any cars that pose a threat to where the VIP is riding. And you'll see them in small escort details for governors, cabinet members, etc. So that's a really good point. It shows that these things they're basically like tanks. They're extremely fortified.
Now he's in a tank.
I guess if you are a Secret Service and you want to pick a vehicle, that's going to ram people.
Right.
It's kind of scary that you pick this one.
Exactly. You want something that weighs 5,600,
yeah, it's scaring the crap out of me, Bill.
Pounds and is going
terrifying.
70 miles an hour in this case. And that's what's so
the man's driving a tank.
About this particular guy is that he's put so many people's lives
He has
in danger.
clearly
so
planned this out,
and so many
selecting a tank.
running red lights, and it's pretty scary what he could do with that car.
Right.
Well,
It
you
is
could-
remarkable.
You could drive up a ramp and onto
Right.
an airplane
Bill,
and
did
drive
he,
down
did
the
he get
aisle,
on
the center
freeway?
aisle, in that son of a
What
bitch.
happened there?
It doesn't look like it. He's
Oh.
eastbound on Rialto Avenue. He's approaching Interstate 215. Yeah, the last thing you want to do is make contact with a 3-ton SUV.
My
This thing is
God.
huge.
The
At
thought
this
of it.
area, we should be driving at 30,
I'm
maybe
spotting in
35
my
miles
trousers.
per hour, maybe even 40, but speeds estimated at upwards of 70 miles per hour, running right through another light there at E
Unfathomable.
Street. E like Echo. This is going to be Rialto Avenue eastbound, crossing E Street. So he has, at this point, crossed east past the 215 freeway. This guy has no interest in getting back on the freeway, wants to stay on surface streets, and he may be in a very unfamiliar area. We know he came from the San Gabriel Valley. It's entirely possible. We just don't know. Maybe he is a resident of the Inland Empire. and
Or
knows
perhaps
where
he's
he
visiting
is
from
going,
New Jersey.
But clearly has no interest in jumping back onto the freeway. He's had a number of opportunities, but he's steered clear of all those chances and stayed on surface streets. Crossing Cedar and coming up on Waterman Avenue now. This is in the city of San Bernardino. We're on Rialto Avenue.
Get a little
coming up
geography
on
lesson
Waterman
here.
Avenue, and he'll continue eastbound on these very
How are the
narrow,
golf courses in that
streets
area,
at
Frank?
incredible speeds. Once again, they hate to sound like a broken record, but the fact that this guy hasn't hit or hurt somebody is just amazing.
It's a
He makes that
freaking
southbound
miracle.
Turn, Waterman Avenue. No, he faked us out, ran a red light, continuing eastbound.
Yeah, what a move.
Rialto
What a move.
Avenue
Clearly
in
he's
the
got
city
special
of San
forces
Bernardino,
training.
East of the 215 freeway, a heavily populated residential area. I'm very surprised it's not even 7 o'clock, but traffic looks like it's 10 or 11 o'clock. It's a very lightly traveled afternoon right now, which is good news for everybody. Eastbound on Rialto Avenue, coming up on Tippecanoe in the city of San Bernardino. Now, he'll have to make a turn when he gets to Tippecanoe. He can turn back. and
Well,
go
I'm
westbound,
Tippecanoe, and
on
so are
Rialto
you.
Avenue, or make that turn onto Tippecanoe, north or southbound, and maybe head back toward Interstate 10, maybe head back toward the 215, maybe just continue on until
Or
he
maybe
runs
pull
out of
over
gas.
and,
Once again, you
write
can
a
see there are
letter.
no street lights here, very poorly illuminated. Once again, on the wrong side of the road, trying to get around that traffic, and to the degree you see any light.
What kind of
on
sick
that
mind
SUV,
would do
this
that?
guy wanted it merely for reckless driving. Any light you see on this guy is coming from the police helicopter overhead. If
Which
for
they
any
have a
reason-
night
for any
sun
reason
attached
that police
firmly to the
helicopter
nose
has
of
to
the
pull off,
aircraft.
Maybe he's running low on fuel, has a mechanical problem. There are other police helicopters he can radio to come in and relieve him. And long before
Bill,
he gets
is
low on
it
fuel, he
possible
will make
he's
that
sending
radio
us a
call,
Morse code
and he'll
signal with his brake
bring
lights?
in assistance. Made that right turn, so this will be southbound now on Tippecanoe. Southbound on Tippecanoe from Rialto Avenue. And once again,
Man,
we are
you
in the
don't wanna
city
die
of
on a
San
street
Bernardino.
named
Looks like the
Tippecanoe.
next, major city, if he continues
Have some
east,
pride,
looks like
boy.
it'll take us into the Redlands area. He might pick up the 10 and go east on the 10, and that would take us out toward Banning and Beaumont. Another red light right there, and he's actually not even far from Palm Springs if he decides to continue.
Yeah, he might be able to hit
east or
some of the
southeast
casinos.
and into Riverside County. Phenomenal speeds, as you guys can see, with that enormously large SUV, 65, 70 miles
God,
per
it's
hour in
fucking
a 35
huge.
mile per hour zone.
It's like a
Those are
C5A
speeds
Galaxy.
estimated now by law enforcement officers. Passing up Big Rig here, once again south on Tippecanoe, and looks like he's about 2 miles north of Interstate 10 on a very lightly traveled surface street, but this is an industrial area, and in no time at all he'll be in a mixed-use area, industrial and residential, which you've seen a number of times, and hopefully he'll be able to continue maneuvering and avoid making any contact with anybody. Southbound Tippecanoe coming up on Central. He'll run that. Oh, good, a green light. Thought that was going to be a red light, but fortunately the lights are in his favor at this time as he continues Tippecanoe southbound. Simply wanted for reckless driving, but showing no signs of slowing down, pulling over, and calling it a day. David Nellen.
Pretty incredible. You know, sometimes we see patterns with these guys, or they stay with someplace familiar. We haven't seen any type of pattern, or doesn't keep coming back to one place. He just keeps going with reckless abandon, it looks like.
Now, we actually have two helicopters covering this right now,
Reckless
so we may eventually, you may see a split screen every now and then, and there you go. Those are both our helicopters giving you a different angle
Well, I like this one
on
better.
this pursuit, staying on top of it and keeping up with things. And one is almost on top of the vehicle, the other one a little bit to the side, but at least you can see between these two pictures what, in one of them at least, where he's headed, and the other one basically
Come on now, spit it out.
There's a big rig making some evasive moves right there.
Is there somebody chasing him now, it looks like?
No, there's. I've been watching. Oh, here comes one officer just behind him. Maybe. Yeah, that is apparently. It looks like a CHP officer southbound on Tippecanoe over the median, wrong side
My
of the street, making an eastbound turn.
darn.
We'll try to get that street for you just a bit. This is a residential neighborhood just
Catch that?
north
Did
of
you
the
catch
Canada
it?
freeway, right by Tippecanoe. And this is Colton, I believe, Colton Avenue or Colston. Okay, that's what Colston, Colston. This is eastbound on Colston. For folks who live here in the area, you know the area just sits north of Interstate 10, not far from the Tippecanoe off-ramp, just about a block away from the 10 freeway. There's enough room for one car to go eastbound, one car to go westbound, and not very much negotiating room, and he's going to try to get around that guy, just barely missed him. And once again, that is a 3-ton SUV. You clip somebody, and that person is going to feel it. The guy in that Chevy Suburban might not feel it so well. Those are very well-built, heavy machines. But if they
they're tanks. They're Abrams M1 Suburbans.
So he'll continue eastbound here on surface streets. There are very few street lights up ahead, so he's going to have to use his own headlights and maybe a little help from the helicopter overhead. Let's open up that shot one more time and see if that looks like a CHP officer.
Shall we?
White vehicle just behind him. That's the only vehicle we can see. He's right on top of this guy, and regardless of one person being on top of him or nobody being here, this guy just continues
do a pit maneuver.
Just continues to run. Now we're hearing that San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies, they're on top of this guy, so they have jumped into the fray. Here's what we've had this afternoon. L.A. County Sheriff's deputies, they were involved. I believe CHP officers, when he was on the freeway, they were involved. World Airport Police, they may have been involved. Now San Bernardino County Sheriffs, they're involved. Picking up the 10 freeway. And David Nellen, as I told you a while ago, in my humble estimation, these pursuits are always dangerous. On surface streets, on freeways, anywhere, everywhere. But when they're on the freeway, I feel a little bit better about it. You've got additional lanes. You've got a wider thoroughfare. And I think, by and large, it's just a little bit safer right now that it's back on the freeway, east on the 10. And I can see off of the nose of the helicopter, he's still several miles out, but he might make that eastbound 10 transition and continue all the way out toward Beaumont and Banning, out toward the Badlands, and maybe, for example, out toward Riverside County and into Palm Springs. He's come a long way. We picked this up out of San Dimas almost an hour ago, about 50 minutes ago, and this guy has not stopped at all, running red lights, stop signs, running onto the wrong side of the street a number of places, narrowly avoiding a number of accidents. We can't even count how many crashes he almost had. Luck is 14. On this guy's side. I'm in the ballpark speeds here at about, I'd say 80, maybe 85 miles per hour. It looks like the guys on the freeway are actually going slower. It's just actually that he's going so fast.
Those are modern physics.
County Sheriff's deputies right behind him. In no time at all, CHP officers may be called in to join the fray. So we'll have a number of folks tracking this guy. At one point, law enforcement officers, I guess they assumed it was a little too dangerous, so they pulled off and just kept the helicopter overhead. But now they are jumping right back into the fray, chasing this guy off of surface streets, back onto the freeway, eastbound on the 10. And we're going to continue now out toward Beaumont and Banning and see where he ends up next, but showing no signs of slowing down.
The fact that he keeps moving so quickly, it's tough to use some of the tactics that they have, like a spike strip or a pit maneuver. Granted, he is moving way fast for a pit maneuver, but maybe a spike strip if he was basically circling around and they could anticipate where he's going to go. But he doesn't seem to be repeating any of his moves, Bill. He's just kind of moving all the way through Southern California, driving straight ahead, and when he gets to the end of that, he'll turn and keep going in the next direction, but he doesn't seem to be wanting to hang out in one particular neighborhood, which makes it difficult to figure out how to tactically go about this besides just following him. Although, is he slowing down, Bill?
It looks like he is.
I told you a while ago, out of San Bernardino, he was heading toward Redlands.
He's got a flat tire.
Now on the San Bernardino freeway, he may be running out of gas. He may be just getting wise and figuring, this has gone on long enough. It's time to stop. He's going to pull over to the right shoulder of the freeway, eastbound on the 10 in Redlands, city of Redlands. The door is open. He better comply with officers. Go wide on the shot.
All this and he's giving up.
Things could get ugly real quick. Backing up toward officers, always dangerous. They could look at that as a threat, a deadly weapon threat. If that guy tries to use that SUV as a threat, that could be a real serious problem. Let's go tight now. He is out of the vehicle, and you can see all the windows are tinted. Let's open up the shot just a bit. You can see these officers. They're on the freeway with him. They haven't closed the freeway yet, but they will shortly. They're telling that guy, stay out of the car. Stand up. Don't face us. Just walk backward toward us. Listen to our voices. Keep walking backward. Keep your hands where we can see him. And then in just a minute, they'll tell that guy to get down on the ground, keeping his hands and his feet spread. In a moment, they might tell him to lift up his shirt so they'll make sure he hasn't got any weapons on him. But now, down on his knees. In just a moment, they're telling him very clearly what they want him to do. Get down on the ground. Spread your legs out. Spread your arms out. We want to see your arms and hands at all times. There they go. Spread those arms out. Now, what officers will do, they'll approach that guy very slowly, very gingerly, very safely. And as one officer approaches him, another officer will keep his gun on that suspect. Additional officers, most likely, they'll keep their eyes trained on that SUV in case there are additional suspects inside. All while this is happening, additional resources being brought in to shut the freeway down. You might see that in the next couple of minutes. Open up the shot just a bit, and we'll see if they close the freeway here. Nope, just the two right lanes. Let's go right back in. They're going to approach that suspect. His hands are behind his back. It would appear from Air 7 HD as though this guy is complying with law enforcement. This is going to be just east of the Alabama off-ramp, east on the San Bernardino Freeway, on the right shoulder. He pulled over. He may have run out of gas. He may have had some kind of mechanical malfunction. He may have just wanted to stop and give up. In either event, he's down on the ground. He'll stay on the ground. Officers now approaching that SUV to check out and see if there's anybody else inside. It's a real dangerous situation with those tinted windows. You can't see. It looks like by their body language they have cleared the vehicle. They're getting on top of that guy, put the handcuffs on him, and fortunately, after nearly an hour covering a number of counties, a number of interstates, including the 10, the 210, the 57, this guy is being taken into custody, wanted initially only for reckless driving, and the folks taking this guy into custody, these are San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies. Looks like CHP officers on our left. This guy will be removed from the freeway in the next several minutes. Fortunately, as best as we can tell from the helicopter, there were no accidents. Nobody got hurt, but this could have been deadly. It has come to an end here in Redlands. That's our story live from Air 7 HD. I'm Bill Thomas, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Bill Thomas, great job out there.